Let me see. I think everyone is in. So, Alton, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. We will go around and we'll just start with some questions. How about Bob Condotta? You want to start us off?
Sure, Alton. Thanks. Yeah, congratulations on getting picked. I guess just tell us, but real quick, sort of how they used you most at Syracuse. Were you just kind of used largely in pass rushing roles, or how were you used there?
At Syracuse, I was an every down DN. We played a 4-3, so I was primarily like a 5 technique, 9 technique, 6 technique, and I was every down DN. We were definitely a attack react defense though.
And did the Seahawks give you an indication of exactly how they want to use you?
I have not got any indication.
Thank you.
John Boyle?
Yeah, congratulations. First off, just what do you know about the Seahawks? How much contact you have with them in this process? Was this somewhere you thought you could end up?
I mean, it's definitely crossed my mind a couple of times because I was actually training in Bellevue, so I'm familiar with the area. I love just the West Coast vibes out there. I'm a Texan, so it's a little different out there, but it's definitely a desired place to be. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the guys, but the facility I was training at, actually, I got a chance to meet Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, and I went to high school with Trey Flowers. So,
I was going to say, how'd you end up out here? Was it through Trey that you ended up training out here?
No, I actually ended up training out there through one of my linebackers at Syracuse. He was a couple years older than me. I kind of looked up to him, and he was able to find that place, and through them, I was like, I followed in his footsteps. His name was Zaire Franklin.
And what was his name, the linebacker?
Zaire Franklin.
Corbin Smith?
Building off that last question, I was reading that you had a chance to work with Cliff Averill, former Seahawks defensive end. So I'm assuming that goes with working out in Bellevue. So how much of a benefit was that to you, a guy that has been a Pro Bowler in the NFL, having a chance to work with him, and now you've got that connection being in Seattle? How excited about that are you?
I'm definitely super excited about that, to be able to, like I said, be able to experience the West Coast and be out there in Bellevue and just be able to, be around the people out there, and let alone get connected with guys like Cliff, right? Like you mentioned, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winning defensive end, to be able to have that opportunity is a blessing, really. And it's even more of a blessing that I'm a Seahawk now.
Greg Bell?
Kyle, congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you.
Who do you credit getting you to Syracuse? What was the most instrumental guy or process that got you there from Texas?
I'd say as far as Syracuse, I think Coach Babers was very influential in the whole process. He actually, Coach Babers was very influential. He was one of the guys that stood on the table for me, and really did the due diligence and all the background checks that was necessary for me to be on campus.
And can you explain to us the charges or what got you out of Texas A&M, what actually went on there?
Basically, I was immature at the time. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we were in a relationship where it was very immature. The situation, I'm sure you can find it. It was very embarrassing. I embarrassed myself and my high school, my family and everything like that. And I definitely learned from it. I'm looking forward to being a Seahawk, and I can't wait to get up to Seattle.
Did you talk to them at the Combine?
If we did, it was very brief. I remember speaking with them at the Senior Bowl.
And what's your impressions of, now that you've been around Seattle a little bit, impressions of the Seahawks?
The 12s roll deep. Everywhere you go, I remember when I first got there, I see 12s everywhere. I had to take it pretty serious. And then, meeting with some of the natives from up there, they definitely tune me into what goes on up there.
I saw a little guy in the background there. Is that a family member, son?
Yeah, that's my nephew. They're all.
How old's he?
He's 8 years old.
Okay, and you're at home in
Yes,
Texas?
sir. Yep.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Brady Henderson.
Hey, Alton. Can you tell us more about the work that you did with Cliff Averill?
Yeah, it was very like position specific, more than anything, because at the facility I was training at, we would go like three times a day, 6 days a week. So it was very like when I got work with Cliff, it was like 1 or 2 days out the week, and it was everything like very position specific to where like body mechanics and things like that will be the difference between getting to the quarterback and getting the sack and getting close to the quarterback.
And how did you get connected with Cliff in the first place?
I think so the CEO of the place that I was training at, I think he's very well connected with the Seahawks. I know guys like Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright are always in there. And then Cliff as well. He's in there quite frequently too.
That's Tracy Ford Sports, right?
Correct.
And one more follow-up. This is kind of an off-the-wall question. I saw some pictures of you at Syracuse, and you were rocking the old-school face mask with the bar in front there. You don't see too many guys wear that. Is there a story behind that?
Yeah. So there's like 2 reasons, real quick. So my first time ever playing football, I played football in 7th grade for Woodlake Hills Middle School. And those were the only helmets. We called them T-bone helmets back then. And I remember my thought process behind the whole thing was go out like I came in. Like I played my last Syracuse game for the school in the same helmet I played my first in the same style of helmet I played with. So,
did any teammates ever give you grief about that?
A little bit here and there, but it wasn't nothing too over the top. Like they would just say, like, "Why would you choose that? It's different." Some people like it because it's different. Some people were like not liking it because it's different. But hey, I'm me. So,
thank you.
That was a great question, Brady. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Curtis.
Hey, Alton, congratulations. Cliff was a coworker of ours for a little bit, so I know him well.
Okay, cool.
With that being said, do you view this as kind of an ideal fit for you? Your relationship with Bobby and KJ already being there, Cliff working with you before, that kind of already kind of being set in motion for you up until this point?
You know, when I thought about it before the whole thing, I was definitely interested because just talking with like Cliff and like knowing the scheme and stuff like that and how like Cliff explained it and how it was between like him and like Michael Bennett, all those guys he played with, and like just the scheme and all that stuff, like getting off the ball. It's just like that's after talking with him, that's like the style of defense that like I feel like is the best kind of defense. So I'm definitely excited to get up there.
And really quick, you had 10 sacks in 2018, 5 this year. How would you kind of describe the difference between the 2 seasons from a sack production standpoint, and how would you kind of describe how this last year went for you in comparison?
Well, I would say, one thing, sacks are funny, it's like, you can have up seasons and down. There's one thing, there's not one thing I can just accredit it all to. I get that question a lot, but it's a hard question to answer. I couldn't just pinpoint one single thing.
Thanks, Alton. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Joe Fan.
Alton, just kind of a generic one for you. Just wondering if you could provide us a little, self-scouting report, where you pride yourself, what you pride yourself in as a pass rusher.
I feel like one of the things I pride myself in most is my relentless competitiveness. Being a defensive lineman, you're going against the same guy pretty much the whole game. It's you and that offensive tackle. And I just think out of 10, I want to win 7. So I know I was bred to believe I can't always be the biggest, fastest, strongest, but working hard can overcome a lot of that.
Art.
So did you have somebody that you most admired, defensive end, or were you imagining yourself a quarterback?
You said, I'm sorry, what?
Or were you imagining yourself a quarterback like all kids?
No. As a kid, I never really wanted to play offense. I always was like with the dark side because it was all like, I feel like that was better. Like, rather stop them rather than,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bob Condotti, you got another?
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to clarify how long you've been working in Bellevue. Was that just sort of after this season in preparation for the draft, or something you'd been doing previously before? Or?
No, yeah, that was that's recent. That started after my last game in November at Syracuse. After that, like the process kind of started with the agents and figuring out a place to train and things like that.
Okay. So then you went back down to Texas sort of shortly before the draft or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for Alton? All right, Alton. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, Lane, I'd like to say, is Ben Arthur, are you okay? Are you look like you might be walking on the moon, or do you have oxygen in there?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. What city are you talking from?
San Antonio.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alton. Thanks, guys. Hey, Alton, hang out for just a second, would you?
Thank you all.